Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
And I'm Michael.
Welcome to episode 363, Over the Edge, 1999.
Evil is once perceived as what man did not understand, but now man understands it very well. Worst tagline ever?
Wow. These taglines just keep getting worse and worse.
I mean, we're used to bad WCW ones.
Yeah.
At least this is the sweatiest over WWF one I've seen. And then, spoiler alert, it's just part of a promo package.
Yeah.
They just lifted it directly from there.
So this is the second and final Over the Edge produced by WWF. It would take place on May 23rd, 1999, from the Kemper Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, with an attendance of 16,472 and a buy rate of 430,000 people.
So the last one, the only other Over the Edge was a In Your House?
Yep.
Is it one of the few In Your Houses that keeps its name?
It was the first one that had kept its name from an In Your House. And then, for obvious reasons, this is the reason why it's the final.
Yeah.
Which we will talk about when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
But something that would happen right around the same time as this show, actually Home Improvement would air its series finale a few days later.
I don't know if I ever saw the series finale. This was a show that when it was on, I'd be like, oh yeah, it was on all the time. So watch it, but it wasn't like appointment viewing for me.
Yeah.
I remember when the youngest kid goes goth. That has to be later season.
Yeah. It's probably around like season 7 or 8.
Yeah. But Wilson, Bob Vila.
Yeah.
Chill.
I mean, yeah, I remember watching the show a lot growing up. I mean, it started in 91. So from like 10 to 18, the show was on, and it was one of the shows that like my parents enjoyed watching it, and so like I would sit down and watch it with them, whatever, if I was not doing anything.
It was on. It wasn't a TGIF show, was it? No, it was on.
No, it was like on a Tuesday night usually for the most part. It's one of those shows where like I remember it fondly, but at the same time, I don't think it's one that I would ever go back and rewatch.
Because it's not that funny, right?
I don't remember anything that was just like laugh out loud, like, haha.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Allen's a one joke kind of guy. The only thing he's ever done that's probably actually good is Buzz Lightyear.
Toy Story, yeah.
And he's a snitch. So fuck him.
There you go. Opinions courtesy of Michael.
I mean, he is. Everybody knows that, right? Yeah. He ratted on all his friends when he got caught with cocaine in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's not cool. You do the crime, do the bid. Now you're out here making bad television shows for people that support ICE.
So I read that he actually got offered $50 million to do another season. And his wife, who played his wife, Patricia Richardson, was offered $20 million. And they both were just like, no, we're good.
Good for them.
I was like, they at least put a little bit of, okay, good for you. Like, know when to go out.
I mean, he also had Toy Story money, which I imagine...
I mean, who knows how much that was actually paying
point.
At that point.
Yeah. And for her, crazy that $20 million, like, nobody's getting that for a television show these days. Because I couldn't name 5... network television shows that haven't been around that aren't The Simpsons and Family Guy that are like currently on the air.
I mean, Tim Allen has a show on air right now.
No, not Last Man Standing.
That was his one he did before. He's now the new one with Kat Dennings.
Haven't seen it. I'll probably never see it.
Yeah, probably not.
I do love sitcoms, but I
love good sitcoms.
I love old sitcoms because they don't make good sitcoms anymore.
Yeah. Anything with Chuck Lorre behind it usually goes very low on my list of things to watch.
Is that the CBS guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, all those
Two
are dog shit.
2.5 Men. And
dog shit.
Young Sheldon. And
dog shit.
Big Bang Theory.
Dog shit. Yeah.
Like everyone always tells me, Matt, you'd like Big Bang Theory, and I watch like one episode, and I'm like, they're making fun of nerds.
Whatever.
It's not
even that. It's just not funny.
The jokes. The joke isn't, haha, nerds rule. It's, no, we're laughing at nerds.
I don't even mind if you're laughing at nerds. It's still not funny.
Yeah.
That's the main issue. But yeah, the CBS is the worst at the sitcom. It's despicable.
Not always.
But they always have a look and a feel and like a.
They do, but it's because most of them are Chuck Lorre films.
But they always feel very.
Chuck Lorre shows.
They always feel very sanitized and for boomers.
Just go watch the new Scrubs, guys.
Oh, I don't like Scrubs at all, but I know you love it. I know you love Scrubs. I hate that show, and I find it pathetic that it's coming back. But I'm happy for my friends that will enjoy it, and I hope it's good for them.
Better be.
I'd rather watch a lot of things over Zach Braff.
I mean, a lot of people would.
Yeah. I like the guy from Clueless.
Don Faison.
Yeah, he's great in Clueless, and
he's great in everything.
He's good in that show. I just don't care for the show.
That's okay.
Just not to my taste.
Yeah.
That's all.
Actually, I want to say the last sitcom that I watched pretty regularly may have been The Middle, which had Neil Flynn from Scrubs. He played the janitor on Scrubs.
Oh, yeah, he was good on that show. I think that there's good things about that show. Like, I don't think it's like wholly bad. Like, I just think that when it gets like too serious sometimes, and that's when sitcoms fall apart for me, where like they get a little too like treacly, but like they do it like almost like every episode, where I'm like, these are not supposed to be that serious. You do like one serious episode like a season or two a season or something. Like that's okay, give me Cheers. Seinfeld, they're like nobody apologizes and nobody hugs each other, and that's why it's great. But that's just
But hey, everybody out there, email in or find us on X. Let us know your favorite sitcom that's currently airing.
Shit.
And if it's one of those CBS ones, then we might not respond. Unless it's Ghosts. I've heard Ghosts is good. But I haven't watched it.
I've seen parts of it at my mom's house, and it makes me want to vomit.
Okay.
But that's me, personally. Also, the way television looks these days is really hard for me to look at because it's so unappealing with like the cameras and the sets and like everything kind of looks cheap in a weird way. Nothing feels lived in.
All right.
But yeah.
But enough about that.
Tim Allen's a snitch.
That's the takeaway.
Yep.
Let's talk some Over the Edge. WWF Attitude package plays before a video with narration from The Undertaker. Once, evil was simply perceived as that which men did not understand. Now, however, he understand it all too well. Evil is the part of man he attempts to shun. It's the side of himself he cease to deny. Everything man is determined to destroy can be found within his own heart. Tonight the reckoning is upon us. Tonight darkness will seize the land. Destroy all you hold dear and make playthings of your heroes. Steve Austin, behold my awesome powers. I come to you tonight laden with sin, seething with evil. Tonight I will strip you of that which you hold dear. Then I will devour your soul, for I am the reaper of men, the chaser of souls. I am the weaver of nightmares, the heart of darkness. I am now and ever will be the purity of evil, an all-encompassing darkness from which there is no mercy, no hope, no escape.
Jesus Christ, that was stupid. And also, there's a line right here that should have been the tagline.
No mercy, no hope, no escape.
That's perfect too, but that's probably even better than the one that I picked out.
If they put it in a steel cage, that would have been a perfect one.
Yeah, but just tonight the reckoning is upon us is fine.
That one works too.
It's just you guys got to be short and moderately menacing because Undertaker is the poster.
We then get an animation of the dead man's symbol, and it turns into a rattlesnake.
Fun.
To come chomp at you as 1-800-COLLECT presents Over the Edge. And Pyro goes off as Jim Ross welcomes us to the show, joined by Jerry the King Lawler, who sends it to a video of Vince McMahon being injured in a match on Heat versus Midian.
So he had a match against Midian?
Yeah.
I guess they need that to happen because we'll get there. But it was probably 15 minutes ago.
If I remember correctly, I didn't write it down. I think it was Shane McMahon actually made a match for Stone Cold versus Midian, and Vince took the match on for Stone Cold.
Just because Stone Cold, he didn't want Stone Cold to have two matches.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, Vince is not the heel anymore.
Yeah, he's in debt to Stone Cold for saving his daughter.
Right. And then he got hurt, as we'll hear more about later on.
Yeah.
So we go to our first match. X-Pac and Kane versus D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry with Ivory for the WWF Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, X-Pac and Kane get separate intros. They come out alone each time, and then they have a nice little moment where he does the X, and Kane raises the fire. And this is the first time, I think, that it doesn't even say Mark Henry on the chyron. It says Sexual
Chocolate. But X-Pac and Kane did come out first. Foreshadowing. And X-Pac and Brown start us off with headlocks and arm work, when the Kid uses the ref to flip out of an armbar and arm drag his opponent.
Fun little spot.
Followed by a back suplex, a spinning heel kick, and a series of kicks in a corner to set up D'Lo for the Bronco Buster, only for Brown to bail out to avoid. Can't hit the Bronco Buster 3 seconds into a match.
I don't know if if the turnbuckles have been mic'd before, but they are mic'd throughout the show, and if they have been mic'd previously, the mics were not turned up this loud because every corner hit is just like so pronounced. So I don't know if it's a new thing. We've had the mic, under the ring, but the corners are so mic'd, it's crazy. Where it's like, Jesus, man, you could crank this down just a little bit. It sounds a little too dramatic.
And everybody tags out with the Big Red Machine delivering strikes and chokes when Mark reverses a whip, leading to a corner splash, strikes, and a press slam. But Kane no-sells to stand right up and hit several clotheslines, a drop kick, and a leg drop.
Kane doing a drop kick. Pretty cool. Also, Mark Henry press slammed Kane. Gorilla press slammed him. It's pretty sick.
Yeah. Henry bails to his corner to tag in D'Lo, who doesn't want to get back in at first, only to get his ass kicked once he does by strikes, a big boot, and a double choke lift.
I know D'Lo's the heel, but they hate him so much. I noticed when D'Lo entered the ring before the match started and he climbed up the corners, there was a guy that waited until D'Lo climbed up one of the corners to hold out a Confederate flag, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man. But then that's just one guy, but still the whole crowd just is really down on D'Lo. Every time he enters the ring, it's D'Lo sucks. I happen to be a D'Lo fan. I know he's the heel, but what has he done that's been so evil?
X-Pac returns for another sequence of kicks, including a spinning heel kick, before knocking Mark off the apron. But a thumb to the eye puts Brown in control, sending his opponent into a corner, where Henry trips up the Kid and crotches him on the ring post. D'Lo keeps up the attack with a scoop slam and a standing leg drop. Mark tags in to stomp away and power slam X-Pac down, followed by a standing leg drop from him as well. Henry then goes for a splash when the Kid moves in time, so Mark brings Brown back to toss the Kid out of the ring, while Kane jumps in to beat down D'Lo until the ref can get the Big Red Machine back to his corner. Now on the outside, Henry's dropping X-Pac onto the railing, rolling him in for Brown to nail a running powerbomb, only for Kane to break up the pin. D'Lo goes to the ropes for a springboard corkscrew cannonball, but again the Kid avoids and makes the crawl for the hot tag. The Big Red Machine with strikes, turnbuckle smashes, back elbow, and a body slam of Mark, causing him to roll out, as Brown rejoins the fray to be tilt-a-whirl slammed down as well. X-Pac with a Biscotto out onto Henry, who catches and squashes his opponent on the post.
Posted.
While Kane delivers a reverse suplex and strikes to D'Lo, when the Big Red Machine goes to run the ropes, only for Mark to hit him from the apron. And Kane turns and grabs Henry by the throat, but Mark hits a hot shot that bounces the Big Red Machine right into a leg lariat from Brown for the pin. And no, Kane powers out to send D'Lo to the floor. And the challengers are working over the Kid when the Big Red Machine flies off the top onto all three men, bringing Henry back in to nail a top rope clothesline for the pin. And no, Brown makes the save. Kane and D'Lo are exchanging strikes when X-Pac rejoins with a roundhouse kick and a Bronco Buster to Brown, while the Big Red Machine delivers turnbuckle smashes to Mark, only to run into a back elbow, allowing Henry to clothesline Kane down and corner splash the Kid. And as Mark is taunting X-Pac, the Big Red Machine sits up and grabs Henry by the throat to hit a choke slam for the pin and the win.
It was funny because you knew it was coming because X-Pac had to milk the Bronco Buster for a little too long. But this was good. It was fun. I love to see the X-Pac influence on Kane being more mobile, doing drop kicks, leaping off the top. And I just couldn't help but think there's got to be some nasty fan fiction about X-Pac and Kane out there that I will not be looking up.
Don't need that in my algorithms.
Yeah, no thank you.
JR then sends it to the back with Michael Cole. And he says that it seems that Shane may have gotten what he wanted. That Vince is injured and may not be able to referee tonight's main event. We then go to Kevin Kelly, who is with Hardcore Holly, saying Al Snow's ire has been raised ever since Holly destroyed Pierre. Only for Hardcore Holly to talk about his imaginary friend and broken lamp, telling his dad that it was little Joe who broke it, but he was the one that got punished. And tonight Al is the one who will get punished. Pierre and Head are not real. Reality is two things. One, I will get my title back. And two, I will take an implementary destruction and give these people an opportunity to see what's inside that sick head of yours.
Peel his head open. Have we seen Pierre?
We have not seen Pierre at all.
I do not remember Pierre.
We will see Pierre here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, I'm sure you'll let me in on the Pierre-ness of Pierre.
I obviously didn't care enough to.
Okay.
He's a stuffed deer head that Al started carrying around as another imaginary friend.
Yeah. I do like Bob Holly's thing where he's like, I left my imaginary friends in the past as I grew up.
Yeah. That takes us to our second match. Hardcore Holly versus Al Snow with Head for the WWF Hardcore Championship.
And Pierre.
Well, at first we don't see Pierre.
Pierre doesn't come out at
He
first.
brings a box with him to ringside.
That's true.
Opening it up to reveal Pierre.
In a neck brace.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny.
And he takes it into the ring to use only for Holly to duck and land strikes to gain control. Until a reversed whip leads to a back body drop and a clothesline that sends Hardcore Holly to the floor.
I love his Pierre airbrushed t-shirt.
The Pierre the t-shirt was great.
It's really... Al Snow goes all in.
Snow gives chase to ram his opponent's head into the railing, but Holly retaliates by dumping Al onto the barricade as well, before a reversed whip sends Hardcore Holly into the ring steps. And Snow heads back in when Holly grabs Pierre to entice Al to the ropes, where he's blasted by a cookie sheet, followed by more shots inside the ring for a 2 count. Hardcore Holly then grabs a fire extinguisher, but it doesn't seem to work.
Gotta pull the pin.
Which allows Snow to make it back to his feet to use the cookie sheet over the head of Holly for a near fall. Al now grabs the extinguisher and sprays his opponent in the face, which sends Hardcore Holly bailing outside. So the fight's taken into the crowd and up the stairs to the concourse, where different food items, including popcorn, nuts, soda, and powdered sugar, are all used on each other.
I love the before the tray of powdered sugar, which powder's been a long thing in wrestling, so it's kind of funny. But before that, he just throws a funnel cake in his face, which also has a poof of powdered sugar.
They also fight into a women's restroom, only for a lady to
just kick him out.
Yeah, which was kind of funny. They then begin brawling back towards ringside, with Snow stopping off to hit his opponent with a cotton candy container and a leg drop off the railing.
Yeah, it's like the big plastic holder for selling cotton candy in the stands.
Now back inside the ring, Al with a turnbuckle smash and stomps before tossing a chair in and propping up a table in a corner. But Holly's back up to deliver a drop kick and a Holocaust.
Oh my God.
For a 2 count.
Couldn't believe that's what they called the move, the Holocaust. It's funny. It's not funny. It's in bad taste.
It's just a driver.
Yeah, but I got a kick out of it, even though I shouldn't have.
Hardcore Holly then argues with the ref about the count, allowing Snow to recover and nail a snowplow for the near fall, followed by jabbing Holly with a chair in the gut and attempting to whip his opponent, only for Hardcore Holly to block it first, before reversals by both men ends up sending Holly back into the original corner, where he leaps up and over the charging Al and dragging him out by the hair until a mule kick low blow takes Hardcore Holly down.
Boo.
Snow then crawls his way to grab head, but Holly ducks the shot and hits a DDT onto the chair.
Chekhov's chair.
For the pin. And no, Al kicks out. Hardcore Holly then sets the table up in the middle of the ring, goes to pick Snow up, only for him to be lifeless at first, but then floats over on another body slam attempt to deliver a powerbomb through the table for the pin and the win.
And this was the last-ditch effort for him to float this and hit the powerbomb. So as soon as he puts him through the table, he falls headfirst into the crotch of Bob Holly. He's technically over him. They count the 1, 2, 3.
Yep. We then go to Michael Cole in the back with the Stooges.
Briscoe and Patterson.
And Cole says there's an ambulance on its way to take Vince to a medical center, and that the ankle injury is more serious than originally thought. And Briscoe can only confirm that about the ambulance, while Patterson says he thinks the ankle is broken, followed by telling Gerald that McMahon should have never gone to the ring.
Not against Midian.
No. We then go to a package about the Blue Blazer, showing highlights and the interview that we saw on SmackDown from a few weeks ago. Ross then begins to send it to a pre-taped interview that Kevin Kelly had with the Blazer, but says, "We got big problems out here," as it switches. And we get that interview where Kelly asks about the match, with the Blue Blazer not even wanting to say his opponent's name at first, because it makes his blood boil, as it represents everything that's wrong with the WWF. But fear not, I will always triumph over evildoers, because I take my vitamins, say my prayers, and drink my milk. Now back in the arena, we go to JR, who's explaining that the Blazer was going to make an entrance from the rafters. But something has gone wrong. It's a very serious situation, and it's not a part of the entertainment.
Yeah.
It's as real as can be. EMTs are attending to him as I speak, and this is not a storyline. This is a real situation, and something terribly, terribly wrong has happened. And
yeah, he says he doesn't know if the harness broke or if it was a malfunction. JR's vamping, but doing a incredibly professional job of it.
Yeah. But he then sends it to a video package over the Venis, Bass, Debra, Jarrett love rectangle. As Nicole is stalking Val, because he owes her and she wants his slide trombone in her brass section. While Venis has his eyes on Debra, who seems to also be smitten with Val, which has Double J upset and breaking guitars over the big Valboski and Bass. And Venis would even make a save, only to leave with Debra as his prize. But another twist would show Debra helping Jarrett defeat Val with the use of her women's championship belt, when Nicole would help revive Venis with mouth to mouth. We then go back to the arena, and Ross continues to reiterate that as people are tending to the blue blazer, that this is not an angle. When the King rejoins the table and says very solemnly, "It doesn't look very good at all." And that was the moment that hit me.
Yeah. Because JR at first, like as soon as he comes on, you're like, oh fuck, and then when Lawler sits down and just the look on his face, you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, because it's not the face that you see from Jerry Lawler ever.
No.
Like, I think the only other time I've ever seen him be that serious is the Letterman show with Andy Kaufman.
And that was a work.
Yeah.
It's like he can be serious, but that's not what his character has been for the last decade in the WWF.
Yeah. And the crowd begins applauding and chanting as the EMTs stretcher out the fallen Owen Hart as JR sends it to the back.
The part that really fucked me up was when JR says Owen's been terribly injured here on this live broadcast, and he says that they are doing an external heart massage on him in the ring. And I'm just like, oof, god damn.
Kevin Kelly's in the back with Jeff Jarrett and Debra, who struggle to make it through their promo.
Yeah, Deborah's like visibly crying when she starts.
Both of them are like trying not to tear up.
But she starts the promo and Jarrett cuts her off, and I'm like, I don't know if that was the plan or if he's just like, oh, she's about to fall apart.
They're more concerned with their friend than this, because they literally just stop their promo and then say that they're sending up their prayers for Owen.
Yeah, and Debra, hold back tears. She says, oh, we love you. Really tough stuff.
And, somehow Double J finally kind of locks in and delivers the line that, telling Venis that these are my puppies and to keep that he-she out of my way. But that takes us to our third match. Jeff Jarrett and Debra versus Val, Venis, and Nicole Bass in a mixed tag match. And Val takes the mic to say, "Hello, ladies. So Kansas is known as the Show Me State."
Lazy.
Which JR corrects as Missouri. "Well, ladies, you know how the saying goes. You show me yours, I'll show you mine." Yeah, if he had just gotten the state correct, it would have been pretty good. And Venis and Double J start us off with back and forth action when Val takes down his opponent with a butterfly suplex, only to telegraph his move, leading to a swinging neckbreaker, strikes, and a single arm DDT.
And it takes a little while for our announce team to get back in the flow of things, as they are very solemn.
But they're trying.
And they
at least,
and they do get there. But like obviously this is not a criticism. Just if you didn't watch the show, like just bringing in kind of important or meaningful details. One that I hate to say, but you can still see blood on the apron from Owen's fall throughout the whole rest of the show, and it's just like, Jesus, man. I feel like every match these days they switch the canvas almost.
A lot of them do, yeah.
Yeah, but who knows? This was 1999.
Venis reverses a whip, but charges into a big boot, only for Jarrett to then charge out into a power slam for a 2 count. Spinebuster by Val, and he tags out, forcing Debra to come in as well, who ducks the attacks of Nicole, slapping her and jumping on her back, followed by turnbuckle smashes. And Debra continues with kicks, but Bass just no sells and turns to stare her down.
I mean, yeah, she's Nicole Bass.
So Double J's tagged back in to lock in a sleeper on Venis, only for Val to shove his opponent and catch him with a knee to the gut and a side Russian leg sweep. Jarrett then avoids a second rope elbow drop to nail his own side Russian leg sweep for a near fall, as Nicole drags Double J off. So he threatens to slap her, but the ref prevents it. And as Teddy Long continues to admonish Jarrett, Debra sneaks in with the guitar to whack Bass with.
She just turns around.
And she rips the shirt off of Debra,
Puppies.
revealing the puppy. And the distraction allows Double J to grab the weapon as well. But Val's back up to deliver a backdrop suplex and the money shot for the pin and the win. Post-match, Nicole and Venis celebrate when she plants one on Val again.
Yep, she dips him and kisses him.
Which he kind of seemed to like.
Yeah, he was pretty impressed after the fact. And,
A pretty good kiss.
Yeah, there might be a romance brewing.
Have you ever kissed someone and been like, yeah, I do like them much more?
It's just a visual joke that's been going on forever. I feel like most memorably in things like Looney Tunes. Yeah. It's like a very like Bugs Bunny dressed as a lady thing.
And before I say this next line, I'm going to throw some commentary in here that this part, I think I would have, I know they probably already had it filmed, but I think I would have taken it out.
I feel the same way. I know what you're talking about. Because I was like, ooh, this feels like it's in bad taste. But it's part of the angle.
We'll talk about, like, at the end, our thoughts and feelings on if we should have continued, yada, yada, yada. But this specific thing, considering what just happened, I feel like I would have definitely taken out.
But if it's pre-shot and considering what just happened, Vince McMahon's not there to reshoot a thing. He's busy.
Just have JR say the storyline.
Yeah, maybe. But hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. So we go to the back and we see Vince McMahon being loaded into an ambulance. And Michael Cole arrives to ask him questions, but Mr. McMahon tells him it's not a good time. When Shane would interrupt to feign ignorance over what happened earlier in the night, but does promise to call the main event right down the middle.
Yeah, he just shows up to tease and mock him as he gets loaded up.
Like, that whole thing, like, Shane literally says the exact same thing in an interview later in the show.
Okay, yeah.
So, did we need all that?
I mean, it's just one of those things where it's live television. This is what's on the format. We just have to follow the format because there's bigger fish to fry outside of it. But it does come off rough. Also, like, the crowd and the fans at home don't know. They know it's serious, but they don't know quite how serious it is.
Yeah.
Just yet.
JR then sends it to a video package over our next match, where we see highlights of the New Age Outlaws, when Billy Gunn would get tired of sharing the limelight, craving individual fame, as we see highlights of badass matches. Gunn thought he could be a big man, so he turned his back on his DX friends, turning into Mr. Ass, as we see him laying out X-Pac and Road Dogg. We then go to Kevin Kelly in the back with Jesse James, saying it must be strange for him, with Road Dogg replying, he's praying for Owen, followed that he hopes someone is praying for Billy, because it all boils down to tonight. We're in the dog pound, and then I'm the D-O-double-G. And you are nothing but the P to the U to the double S. James then asks Kevin, so what is it? The D-O-double-G or the P-U-double-S?
So funny that they can't say why.
With Kelly saying he doesn't know, which leads right into, oh, you didn't know?
Yep.
And the rest of his stick. I will give him credit. I thought that was good.
Yeah, it was a good transition.
It's a good transition.
I mean, also the storyline where it's like Billy thinks that he's better than Road Dogg. It's like, he is. If you had to wrestle with Road Dogg every week, but you looked like Billy Gunn, and Wouldn't you also, at least try to work your way up the card as a solo guy for more money?
And Road Dogg makes his way all the way to the ring, doing his whole bit.
You all know it. We all did it on the playground.
We then go to the back again. Mr. Ass is being interviewed by Kevin, who's saying that James knows what he's capable of. I've been carrying you around like a bag case of the clap. That takes us to our fourth match. Road Dogg, Jesse James versus Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn. And I actually wrote down this is the first time we were hearing the Ass Man theme.
I think we heard it last.
But we did hear it on the No Mercy.
Yeah.
I went and double checked because I was like...
I think I might have brought it up.
You probably did, and I just...
Totally fair.
Totally forgot about it.
But it's such a good song. It's so bad and so
it's so bad, but it's good.
Yeah, it's like the right catchy. You can't believe that it's an actual song. And he's like, he likes to lick them. He likes to stick them. He likes to poke them. It's just like so insane and stupid, but it's just got the right hook, and the production it just adds to the comedy of it.
Yeah,
real good stuff.
And Mr. Ass drags James out of the ring to start brawling on the floor. Back into the ring before a body slam, knee drop, and chokes from Gunn. Road Dogg fights back with strikes, a back elbow, and a clothesline that sends Mr. Ass outside, giving chase to brawl in the aisleway until a whip sends Gunn into the ring steps. Now back inside, Mr. Ass reverses a whip to toss James over the ropes, where he slams his head into the steel steps and ring post.
Posted.
Before taking it to the ring to nail a stalling suplex for a 2 count. Gunn applies a chin lock, power slam, and a leg drop for a near fall, followed by clotheslines, a camel clutch, argues with the crowd, and a sleeper to wear down his opponent and everyone watching. When Road Dogg rallies for a sleeper of his own, a face plant, and shake, rattle, and roll for a 2 count.
In Billy's defense, he's working with maybe the least physical guy on the roster, so he's doing fucking camel clutches and chin locks and sleepers. Like, what are you gonna do outside? You can't just clothesline him a million times, because what else can he take a bump for? You can't just trade hammer locks. It's Road Dogg.
Mr. Ass then bails out and grabs the timekeeper's hammer, hitting James right in the face and dragging him back in for a near fall.
He got hit in the face with a hammer.
Gunn then sends Road Dogg to a corner and charges in with a splash, only for James to punch him right in the face for a 2 count. Road Dogg then whips his opponent across the ring chest first into a turnbuckle, hammering away on his back, while Mr. Ass unwraps his wrist tape to use as a clothesline to the throat, before nailing a famouser for the pin and the win.
Thank God Billy won, but considering these guys were the hottest tag team a few months ago, does any tag team break up and actually have the match that people want to see?
No, not usually.
I mean, Gargano and Ciampa?
Pretty much. I mean, I think of some other maybe modern ones, but...
Yeah, but just like, it's just a thing. There's all these wonderful tag teams from the past, and they break up and have matches, and it just never... And here, it makes sense, because Road Dogg just isn't up to that.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have the ability. But like the Steiner brothers, like we never got it in any real meaningful way.
They still haven't wrestled. We go to the back where Michael Cole is with Shane McMahon. And Cole says that Shane knocked his father out of commission on Sunday Night Heat, making him the sole referee for the main event. With McMahon replying it's not his fault that the ankle got hurt. He will call it down the middle.
Sure. Also the 2-ref thing. The only time they have like special guest referee, like 2 special guest referees, it's like, oh, one of them's at like the timetable or on the floor.
Usually the enforcer on the outside to make sure people go back inside.
Mm-hmm.
But people still brawl outside.
Yeah.
But we go to our 5th match. The Corporate Ministry of Big Bossman. The Acolytes of Bradshaw and Faarooq and Viscera versus the Union of Mankind, Test, Ken Shamrock, and Big Show in an 8-man elimination match.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they named them the Union, which makes total sense. And considering Mankind is obviously one of the most famous guys in the company, one of the most beloved, they really get a huge pop.
Yep. So Viscera and Test start us off with a big man hitting strikes, a corner splash, and a body slam. But the former bodyguard avoids an elbow drop, only to run into a power slam for a 2 count.
What do you think being the bodyguard of Motley Crue pays? I guess it depends on the year.
Probably. Test with the mule kick low blow and a drop kick to rally, giving forearms to the rest of the ministry before returning to Viscera, who catches him with a belly-to-belly suplex. And Bradshaw tags in to work over Test with strikes, a side Russian leg sweep, but a missed clothesline leads to the former bodyguard delivering a big boot that sends the big Texan to the floor, only for him to rush right back in to tackle Test down to the mat. And a telegraph move allows the former bodyguard to clothesline his opponent and whip Bradshaw to a corner. But he charges into a big boot, only for the big Texan to charge into a power slam for a near fall. And Test continues with a side slam and heads up top for an elbow drop, making the cover, but Faarooq makes the save, followed by Bradshaw recovering to nail the clothesline from hell for the pin and the elimination.
Elimination, not the win. What am I doing? They at least let Test really go out there, and he was gonna be the first one eliminated, obviously, from the Union, but he got to get his shit in and do some fun stuff.
So Shamrock jumps in to work over the big Texan, only for Bradshaw to catch Ken's crossbody attempt and hit a fallaway slam. The big Texan goes for his finisher again, but Shamrock catches and counters into a cross arm breaker, with Faarooq jumping in again to make the save. Ken then ducks a big boot from Bradshaw and jumps on his shoulders to deliver a Hurricanrana and applying the ankle lock for the submission and the elimination. The former militant then is in quickly to nail a power slam to Ken for a 2 count, before bringing in Viscera to overpower Shamrock with a side slam, whipping him to the ropes where Ken goes for a crucifix.
But he can't quite make it around the mass of Viscera.
Right. So he just kind of falls off, followed by an elbow drop from Viscera for a near fall. And Faarooq returns but receives a leaping back elbow and a leg lariat from Ken, before a belly-to-belly suplex and applying his finisher, only for Bossman to drag the former militant to the ropes, which forces a break. But Shamrock won't do it, so the ref pulls him off, followed by Ken suplexing Mike Chioda, which leads to a disqualification.
Ref bump.
And elimination.
No matter where Ken is on the card, he just always brings more visceral energy than anybody else. Like, you can feel his anger, even if he's just acting. And I just love him so much. He wasn't here in this match for very long, but he does bring the energy up in anything that he does.
And Shamrock puts the ankle lock back on Faarooq momentarily when Teddy Long comes down, while Big Show jumps in the ring to deliver the showstopper to the former militant for the pin and the elimination.
And the showstopper is just the, chokeslam.
Chokeslam. It's a horrible name for the chokeslam when you also have Shawn Michaels as your commissioner, because he's the showstopper.
Yeah, but I never think of showstopper when I think of Shawn Michaels. I think of the Heartbreak Kid.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what they were thinking too.
Yeah.
But it's still a horrible name.
He is the big show. Yeah, but I mean, everybody does a chokeslam now. Like in in all three of the American companies, it's just like,
if you're big enough, you can do a chokeslam.
Yeah.
Bossman comes in and asks for a test of strength, but Big Show clotheslines Bossman down before a big forearm sends him out of the ring, calling Big Bossman to call it a night and leave down the aisleway. But Show chases Big Bossman down, throwing him into the ring to deliver boots, a heel toss, and chokes, when Bossman would counter with a low blow, strikes, and several clotheslines.
Bossman, are you trying to get kicked out of the corporate ministry? Are you just bailing?
Viscera joins his partner for double team back elbows that get Big Show off his feet, before Big Bossman begins wearing down his opponent with a chin lock, only for Show to rally escaping with elbows, a big boot, and looks to hit his finisher when the former king breaks it up. And Mankind jumps in for everyone to brawl.
I mean, the fans have been chanting Foley for a minute.
With Big Show slamming Viscera down and headbutting Bossman. And the former king and Show start fighting on the outside, making their way down the aisle and to the back to presumably be counted out and eliminated.
Yeah, double count out.
Bossman with the corner splash and running straddle inside the ring to Foley sends him into the steel steps on the outside, followed by returning to the ring to hit a clothesline that gets a 2 count. And Big Bossman goes to the chinlock, which Mankind escapes with elbows, only to run into a knee and another chinlock. But Foley rallies with right hands and a DDT before locking on the Socko Claw for the ref stoppage and the win.
This was much better than I expected than it was on paper, because I was like, oh, 8-man elimination. And then I thought it was done pretty decently, considering.
Yeah.
The lack of Foley was crazy obvious, and I felt like maybe it was because the Owen situation, but I don't quite know.
So Foley's hurt.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
He really needs to take some time off.
Yeah. That makes sense, because he's in this for like 2 minutes.
His knee is not doing well at all.
Okay. That checks out, because he's...
is the reason why things happen here in a couple minutes.
All right.
We then go to Jim Ross at the announce booth, and he announces that Owen Hart has been pronounced dead.
And the live crowd doesn't know.
No, the live crowd has no clue. So, thoughts on, should they have continued? Should they have canceled, postponed? Thoughts about the whole thing?
Obviously, incredible tragedy.
Absolutely.
You can argue all day about where the blame goes, but we're not like forensics, like scientists. I haven't looked into the harness and all of those things. I've heard little bits about it, but that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the guy passed away, and I apologize for my opinion only to the Hart family. But I think that the show can't, unless the show just needs to go. You can't just send all these people out of here and tell them over the microphone, a house mic, that Owen Hart has died, and out of respect, we're going to send you all home. That's so awful. That's just, and that's so much, like, at the end of the day, it is entertainment, and it's completely horrific. Nobody, you can argue they knew he was dead when they took him out of the ring, blah, blah, blah. The fans at home didn't know that. The fans in the crowd didn't know that. They clapped when they took Owen out. Yeah. They seemed to think that. Maybe the people in the front row felt otherwise. But as disgusting as it is, it's like the show must go on. In hindsight, you can be like, yeah, you should have stopped it, but how can you stop something this large on a dime? It'd be different if it was something as disgusting and unfortunately as common as a mass shooting or something. Yeah. But this was truly an accident, and I think that JR handled it as well as he possibly could have, and I think all the wrestlers handled it incredibly well. But I think that stopping it would have just been too much for everybody. You got 16,000 people and a pay-per-view, and whether it's disrespectful or not, you take that money and you put it to good use. But yeah, I just don't see a world in which you can just be like, everybody go home now.
Totally from the business point of view,
just in
there's so much money that you're going to be out.
It's not even a money thing.
And it's I know this is very much
but it's also a mood killer and a fan killer. There's so much, such a, as awful as this is, it's an even bigger hassle to be like, all right. They could have donated every penny made from this to Owen Hart's family, and hopefully they did.
I mean, a lot of this money did end up going to Martha because they won a lawsuit.
Yeah, for sure.
Over it
and
later,
they should have
a few years later.
They should have been able to just. They shouldn't even had to go to a lawsuit. They should have just been able to pay it out. But I can understand being incredibly upset and being like, "That's not enough."
I think the biggest thing is that Vince was not going to ever admit that they were in the wrong with and the lawsuit basically they had it classified it completely as an accident, and so they paid money out, but they never had to admit fault. The biggest issue with it is we should just not have been doing this stunt. It was not, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
In the Owen Hart documentary, that's a extra feature on the Wrestling with Shadows DVD. Okay. I watched the Owen Hart thing, and literally he was going to drop down into the ring and then trip forward like he's a bumbling fool.
Yeah. It was a bad gimmick.
And it's just like...
It was a bad gimmick and not worthy of Owen's talent.
It's not even funny.
No.
So, what was... Like I said, the juice isn't worth the squeeze on it. So it should just never have been a thing. Now, the reason that Owen didn't... Because he wasn't comfortable with the gimmick, with the stunt at all.
He'd done it before.
He'd only done it one time before.
Because there's a clip of it in the package.
And he was not comfortable with it. He didn't like heights. But he didn't feel like he could say no, because he had just said no to a storyline with Debra.
Oh, yeah.
Basically this whole Val Venis, being smitten with Debra thing was going to be Owen.
Which makes less sense.
I mean, it does, but...
But yeah, that was where they were going to... They didn't have much for Owen.
Basically, they were going to turn Double J and Owen against each other.
Because they'll have good matches.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he had said no because he didn't...
He thought it was...
disrespectful to his wife, Martha, basically.
Yeah.
And...
Which is incredibly respectable, so he does this dumb gimmick that they give him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much because everyone... All the wrestlers know that their friend is very seriously injured.
It's like at the very least he's probably in a coma.
Yeah. And more of them are probably more concerned about their friend than they are about what's happening at this show.
How could they not?
And you can tell with a lot of these matches.
Yeah.
So...
And their friend's blood is in the ring.
Exactly.
It's really, really upsetting and stark.
So we've gotten that out of the way. We're going to go back to the show.
Yeah. Do you think that they should have just stopped? I think it was...
I mean, I'm very much with
hindsight,
you. It's one of those things that I wish that they had, but also knowing that it would be a very difficult thing to do from the business side of the thing, and literally
just fan morale.
You literally have 7 minutes to figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And Vince has always said that Owen would have wanted us to continue.
I think that,
and I almost wanted to agree with him in that situation, because as we mentioned last week, Jerry Lynn fucking fractured his skull.
Yeah.
And in that day and age, you just got up and you continued.
Yeah.
And so I do think that this is a situation where everyone would just be like, yeah, we just got to continue.
How many other people have died in the ring? There was the Rey Mysterio.
The only other one that I know of is that in Mexico?
Yeah. I don't know if that show continued. I know it was.
I don't know
smaller.
if it did. The only other one that I know of is in the 70s with some guy, but he died of a heart attack. But I don't think it was in the ring.
Yeah, it was like he was at the show.
Yeah.
Or like Hayabusa, that injury, if you've ever seen it, disgusting and horrific. I don't know if that show went on or not, but that's a clip that will make your skin crawl.
Yeah, don't go watch it. But like I said, we're going to go back to the show. We want to be respectful, but at the same time, our show is covering the wrestling.
And the history part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not a show that focuses on behind the scenes in an equal degree, but we do bring up pertinent or interesting things. I just don't know. I just don't see how they're just like, all right, goodbye, and just shuffle all these people out and cancel all these pay-per-view things. And I wouldn't, we can't say what Owen would have liked, and I wouldn't guess, but it is show business.
Yeah. So we go to a video package over our next match where we see The Rock falling off the stage as we hear Triple H say his fate is in his hands. And the two confront each other multiple times over the years, including Hunter using a sledgehammer to remove a cast from Rocky's arm, placing him in a casket and smashing it as well.
Is that our first sledgehammer?
I think he's used it before.
I think you're right. Oh, another thing, just to double back quickly. If this happened today, it wouldn't be possible because everybody has telephones. They all have Twitter
Correct.
and stuff like that. So the JR clip would have been put on Twitter immediately. People would have seen it in the arena.
So, like, this show that we watched, like, the only way we could see all the stuff that JR says is because someone recorded the pay-per-view as it was airing.
And you can tell because the parts that are cut, they are spliced back in with lower quality because this is like a network version, so it's got better color correction and stuff. So they're like cutting in the VHS segments, done pretty expertly, of the show as it aired.
Yeah.
There's a really interesting moment, particularly in this match coming up.
Because, like, the show can be seen on Netflix at this point, but everything that has to do with Owen, including, I think the only Owen reference is possibly Road Dogg's interview, because he literally says it and then transitions into his promo. Yeah. Like the Jarrett and Debra promo is not on the Netflix version.
Because it's upsetting.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no mention other than at the beginning of the show, they do the in memory.
Yeah, in the end of the show.
Which we get at the end of the show.
Okay, yeah.
But they put that at the beginning of the Netflix version.
Okay.
At this point. Kevin Kelly is then with The Rock in the back, asking after all that has happened. Plenty of his fans think he shouldn't be going into the ring. Only for Rocky to tell Kevin to shut it, when Chyna would arrive to distract the People's Champ, allowing Triple H to attack from behind. And The Rock's cast is being cut off by Hunter, when Mankind would arrive to make the save, only to be beaten down as well with a lead pipe. So that takes us to our sixth match. Triple H with Chyna versus The Rock.
With a cast.
Yep. And this is actually our first time that we're hearing Hunter's new theme called Our Game. So it's Motorhead.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't really remember this one.
When Triple H would take the mic, ready to accept a forfeit, as there's no way Rocky will wrestle with a broken arm. But The Rock storms to the ring to work over Hunter with strikes, clotheslines, and tossing Triple H over the ropes to the floor, where the attack continues, slamming his opponent's head into the railing and apron. And Hunter fights back to do the same, tossing Rocky into the crowd. But a reverse whip sends Triple H into a barricade and head slammed into the Spanish announcement.
Ay, Dios mío.
And Rock takes the headset off of Carlos Cabrera to provide some Spanish commentary, only for Hunter to slam the broken arm into the table several times, which knocks the cast off. So Triple H picks it up to use as a weapon as well.
When he takes the mic or whatever, and he's talking trash or whatever, he quickly says, "Owen the Rock loves you," and there's just like this quick splice of that in there, and then him continuing to like talk trash or whatever. But it was a very moving and like upsetting like moment where it's like, oh, just like, yeah, he's like, I just got to. Everybody just has to do it. Feels compelled. And it's really nice of them to do, even though, yeah, I can understand just not wanting to even say it out loud.
Back inside, Hunter continues the punishment by slamming the arm into the turnbuckles, strikes, and chokes. When Rocky rallies to punch his opponent away to the ropes, bouncing back into a Samoan drop for a 2 count. And a reverse whip leads to a high knee from Triple H for a near fall, followed by punching The Rock out of the ring, where Chyna slams the arms a few more times into the announce table. Rocky's rolled in where the two exchange strikes until The Rock catches his opponent with a DDT, leaving them both down momentarily. Rocky then telegraphs his move, which allows Hunter to hit an armbar takedown, delivering knee drops and arm work to the hurt appendage before wrapping it around the steel post. And Triple H tosses The Rock out of the ring again, giving chase to slam the arm on the ring steps and ring post, followed by heading back into the squared circle where the two reverse each other's whips, leading to Rocky having Hunter set up for his finisher, only for Triple H to knee his way free and DDT his opponent. Chyna then hands Hunter a chair, with the ref preventing him from using it. So Triple H argues with Earl Hebner until deciding to just deck him, which causes him to be disqualified.
Ref bump.
Post-match, Hunter grabs the chair again, but The Rock has recovered to kick it away, beating down Triple H with strikes and a chair shot of his own. And the ref goes to raise the hurt arm of Rocky, which he doesn't appreciate. So Hebner gets clocked again.
Ref bump.
Followed by heading out to run a bloodied Hunter into the ring post, announce booth, and steel steps. Rock even uses JR's electric fan before rolling his opponent back into the ring to keep up the attack, when Chyna jumps in with a chair. But Rocky kicks it away, picks up the weapon, only for the distraction to allow Triple H to hit The Rock from behind, which also knocks Chyna out of the ring.
Chyna bump.
Hunter then charges into a rock bottom before having the chair placed on him for a people's elbow. But Chyna trips up Rocky to prevent it. And The Rock grabs her by the hair to drag her to the apron, only for Triple H to use the weapon across Rocky's back, continuously whacking him with a chair when Mankind run down with the lead pipe to break it up, sending Hunter bailing to the back.
It's a lot, but I think considering the DQ, they at least moved the heat around correctly at the end. And feel like we're moving towards another unlikely tag team.
Little connection?
Absolutely. Maybe one with a rock, maybe one with a sock.
JR then sends to a video package for our next match, where we get highlights of Stephanie being kidnapped and almost sacrificed by The Undertaker, being saved by Austin, followed by Shane combining the corporation and the ministry, admitting he was the mastermind behind the kidnapping.
What an evil brother.
And the younger McMahon would make the match with himself as the special guest referee, as more highlights of Stone Cold and Taker confrontations over the weeks are shown. But Commissioner Shawn Michaels would add his own stipulation.
I wonder what Shawn's getting paid to just show up every once in a while and be like, not on my watch.
Vince would also be a special guest referee. And the dead man would try to sacrifice Austin, only to be outsmarted, as Stone Cold would handcuff Undertaker to his own symbol, allowing him to be beaten down and raised high above the ring.
I do love Undertaker being crucified on his own symbol. It's pretty awesome.
But that takes us to our 7th match. The Undertaker with Paul Bearer versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Heavyweight Championship, with Shane McMahon as the special guest referee. And Pat Patterson also comes down to replace Vince to make things fair. But Taker chokeslams him once he arrives to the ring. And JR mentions that there's also a stipulation that if Stone Cold touches Shane, he would be automatically stripped of the title.
You guys, all things that you would have assumed
exactly
going in, but we got to say it out loud. Of course, because if Stone Cold could just beat up Shane McMahon,
he would.
He absolutely would.
So the two competitors start exchanging strikes as soon as Austin gets in the ring, with Stone Cold being knocked to the floor, followed by the dead man continuously keeping him at bay until a hot shot by Austin allows him back inside with the top rope clothesline for a 2 count. Stone Cold stomps a mud hole and chokes in a corner, breaking the count multiple times so he can continue. Shane's like, 1, 2, 3. And so Stone Cold back up.
And then he goes right back to it.
Back to it.
Yeah.
When Shane would finally pull him away, leading to Undertaker using the distraction to deliver a throat thrust, turnbuckle smashes, stomps, and chokes that McMahon gives a very slow 5 count to.
What a jerk.
And Taker catches Austin going for a kick to begin working him over with holds, only for Stone Cold to return the favor by pouncing on the leg, slamming it on the ring steps and dropping elbows. But the dead man turns it into an armlock. And Austin escapes to the floor where Bearer gets too close, so he gets popped in the mouth, followed by returning his attention to his opponent, only to be kicked away into the railing and rammed back first into the ring post.
Posted.
And they brawl into the crowd before returning to ringside where Stone Cold's choked with a camera cord and has the stairs kicked into his bad leg.
Yeah, it's a interesting spot because he moves the stairs over and then puts Austin's leg against the post, but Austin's laying flat on the ground, and then he kicks it into his leg or whatever. I was like, I don't know if I've seen that one.
Back inside, Undertaker continues to work the leg, when Austin rallies with right hands and a clothesline that knocks Taker outside. But Stone Cold is tripped up, which takes the fight back to the floor, where the dead man's hand is slammed into the announce booth multiple times. They roll back in where Austin goes for the Thez press, only for the Undertaker to catch and drive his opponent down with a spine buster.
I love this spot.
Leaving both men down. Stone Cold crawls to the ropes to regroup when Paul would smack Austin over the head with a shoe, followed by the two men brawling down the aisleway to the entrance, where Taker misses a punch to put his fist right through a stained glass window that's part of the set dressing.
Yeah, that one really surprised me. I was not ready for that. We haven't dealt with a whole lot of glass. I'm sure it's sugar glass, but it's a striking image.
Stone Cold also throws his opponent through another one of the windows as well, before they brawl back to the ring, where Austin hits a second rope elbow drop for the pin. And no, Shane has shoulder issues. Stone Cold then confronts McMahon in a corner, while Bearer tosses the dead man a chair. But Austin turns in time to kick it away, whipping Undertaker right into Shane, followed by a chair shot, and making the cover, with Gerald Briscoe running down to make the count for the pin. And no, Taker kicks out.
I missed that Shane ref bump, but it was very fast. It was a very fast segment here.
A reversed whip by the dead man leads to a big boot by Stone Cold, followed by a clothesline to take out Briscoe.
Ref bump.
Leaving the crowd to chant for Shawn Michaels as the Undertaker nails a leaping clothesline. Vince McMahon then hobbles his way to the ring.
Like only Vince McMahon can hobble.
While Austin goes for a stunner, only for it to be blocked. So another whip leads to both men delivering clotheslines for a double KO. But both men sit up at the standing count of 7, exchanging strikes when Stone Cold hits his finisher for the pin. And no, Shane breaks it up.
Pulls Vince McMahon right off of him.
Vince begins stalking after his son, shoving him down, while Austin wants to know what's going on, giving Shane the chance to shove Mr. McMahon into Stone Cold, which knocks him over into a schoolboy from Taker for the Shane quick 3 count and the win. And new. Post-match, the younger McMahon celebrates with the belt as Austin beats down the dead man inside the ring, which brings out the rest of the corporate ministry to make the save, only for Stone Cold to fend them all off with stunners and chair shots as JR says his goodbyes, and we fade to the In Memory of Owen Hart screen, and then to black. So I ask you, Michael, what are your overall thoughts of Over the Edge 1999?
I hate to say that it's a pretty decent show. I don't really have much issue with most of the matches or the booking. It's just shadowed in tragedy. I think that Taker winning the belt was unexpected. I didn't get this pay-per-view when it happened, so I don't remember this lineage change, but it feels like the right time because the corporate ministry needs to stay relevant. This is a way to do it. He wins in a schmoz. Stone Cold Steve Austin forever is relevant, and if he's not chasing, he's not a guy that can just be on top the whole time. He's not a heel. He's presented as an underdog, but
he's kind of overpowered.
But that's kind of the weird charm of Stone Cold.
Yeah.
It's like he's overpowered in the ring and the underdog because people are always getting in his way.
Well, you definitely like this show better than I did. Because
I didn't love it.
I thought the show was pretty mediocre before the accident. And then everything afterwards just has this cloud over its head that I just don't know. And maybe it's just because of that.
I feel like
I couldn't enjoy any of it.
I feel like the cloud starts to be slightly like lifted as it goes, and I don't think anybody's having like bad performances. I don't think it's a great show, but if you take out the obvious tragedy, I think it's a solid in your house, which is what these are. They're just 2 hour or 3 hour in your houses now, but we know that they're not the shows where the big crazy shit happens. I wouldn't be like, you gotta watch this show, but I think if you could scoop the Owen out of it, I can't
even tell you what match I would tell you to go watch on the show. None of them.
I like the first match.
Absolutely none of them.
A good amount
for me.
Yeah, I think they were all solid. Like I don't think there was anything where I was like, oh, like they're all feel pretty well plotted and performed. The Billy Gunn and Road Dogg match might be the least good one. How do you feel about Taker taking the belt?
I mean, I'm with you on that. That like, I'm okay with Stone Cold losing the belt because it just gives him more reason to. He's the top babyface is always better as the chase than as the guy on top.
And they had Vince McMahon screw him for a year and a half, and now we've got Shane doing it, and I think Shane's doing a good job of it. And Taker can always be a guy that takes the belt from whoever has it.
But also, these two guys are also working hurt, and so...
Yeah, it was a lot of brawly.
So it's just a lot of brawly stuff, and not a lot... Neither one of them can really do much inside the ring, so... That's why that's why they just keep throwing each other outside the ring to do all that stuff.
Yeah. One of my favorite spots of the whole night was Taker blocking the Thez press because it's like, I don't know if I've ever seen that.
I mean, I will agree with that.
That was great.
That was a fun spot. I kind of want us to skip smarking it up this week.
That's fine.
Because it's kind of hard to talk about best moments or most disappointing when...
I think it's like you said, it's a mediocre show. With a obvious dark cloud over
it. That I just don't feel like we need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, so it doesn't need to be glorified.
Yeah.
Also, there's not a lot to glorify. It's just a pretty solid show that is a stepping stone for further events. Big thing, and the surprise is obviously Taker wins the belt. He obviously wins it dirty as hell, but duh.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Turn the lights down, turn the projector on, because we're ready to rumble. This week the film we covered is Taxi Mister. Released April 16th, 1943 by United Artists. Directed by Kurt Newman and written by Earl Snell and Clarence Marks. It would star William Pendix, who's a one-time Oscar nominee, Grace Bradley, and Joe Sawyer. And the plot of this one is the owner of a cab company tries to foil a racketeer. And some trivia for this one. This is actually Grace Bradley's final film, as she would spend the rest of her days devoting herself to her husband's career as Hop-Along Cassidy.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know Hop-Along Cassidy?
I don't.
He was a TV cowboy, basically a kid's TV show type thing.
Is he like an inspiration for the cowboy character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Like that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is also the third film in a series of taxi comedies that included Brooklyn Orchid and McCarran's from Brooklyn.
And that one with Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah.
That's just Taxi.
Is that just called Taxi? I couldn't remember the name of it.
So reviews and ratings for this one, IMDb has it at a 6.5, Letterboxd at a 2.3. And I found this review from Laura's Miscellaneous Musings from 2021. It's a fast-paced entertainment with some funny gags, all over and done almost before they've begun. Fellow B fans will probably enjoy. And my review of this is the long-lost story of how our lovebirds met, which is funny in places, especially any time the drunk shows up. Grace Bradley is a revelation, so it does make me sad that this is her final performance. The wrestler of this film is Mike Mazurki, and this is our 9th time to see him. He plays a henchman who's sent by Bradley's character to get a motor for her Bose taxi company. The henchman cuts some corners, and the taxi company ends up right back at square one.
I see. I can see what kind of movie this is, which makes sense why that person said all over and done before they've begun.
I believe it's less than an hour long.
Really?
Yeah. I gave this movie a 3.0. It's fine. Like,
yeah.
There's moments that I laughed at, but for the most part, it's just kind of whatever. Mazurki, I gave him a 2.5. Once again, like, doesn't do a whole lot, but his part kind of, like...
He looks like a henchman?
He looks like a henchman, and a dumb henchman at that, because, like, it's pretty obvious what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, dummy, quit doing that.
I will say the plot, the owner of a cab company tries to foil a racketeer. It's like, that could be so many different movies. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that sounds like a plot that could be a movie that I completely adore, or it could be just probably what this is.
Yeah. But if this movie does sound interesting, it is a little bit difficult to find, so I had to go out there to the library system and do some searching that way. But use your library systems, guys. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, fuck Netflix.
And next week, we are going to go to the next day and cover the Raw, the Owen Hart tribute show from May 24th, 1999. So that will be next week. Music from this week's show is Chopping Block by Elliot Pulse, and Undertaker won our main event. So we play Ministry version 3.
This might be my
by
least
Jim
favorite.
Johnston.
Sorry to cut you off. This might be my least favorite Undertaker version of song.
It's not wonderful.
It's just it doesn't have the gravitas.
But if you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts at. If you're doing the YouTube thing, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications.
Let us know.
Make sure you're leaving those comments there. But you can also email us at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com with any other questions, comments, concerns. You can send those best sitcoms that you're watching now.
Yeah.
We'd like to hear those.
I just started watching the Norm Macdonald sitcom today. Because I just found out about it. I didn't know it existed. It's okay.
But you can also do those things on X at Wrestling HistoX. That's Wrestling HISTO.
X.
We'll talk to you next week.
Laters.